Thanks. Uh, uh, Prasad, Pradeep just talked about people, right? How do you think culture basically plays a role in the startup growth? So, can you tell a little bit about the
Sure.
culture and some examples of how you're seeing
Yeah.
culture contributing to the growth of the startup?
Sure. I think super important. As they say, culture eats strategy for breakfast. There's no point having a full-blown business plan, in a startup. Nobody would go through like 10, 12 slides of your presentation, right? So basically, the cultural element. So I'm going to pick Pradeep's example, Trilophilia, because it's a common portfolio.
Okay.
I know her. We've just taken the team to Singapore to meet about 30 venture capitalists.
Sure.
Everybody was very impressed with her.
Right.
So when you dig deeper,
Yeah.
right, there are three elements. One is razor-sharp focus. And razor-sharp focus means you try to tell her, why don't you do this, why don't you do this? She would go back saying, no, we don't have the bandwidth. Razor-sharp focus, right? He mentioned that. And the energy and passion to drive that razor-sharp focus.
Right.
The second part, I think is very, very important, and I see that missing in a lot of entrepreneurs in India specifically, is articulation of your value.
Right.
When I say articulation of your value, a lot of people say pitch. Everybody can pitch.
Right.
You've been pitching right from you're a child.
Correct.
Right? But to be able to articulate that in a value proposition,
Right.
and to actually leave the audience with 2-3 things that they can think of, right, when you leave that stage or when you leave the presentation, is super important.
Sure.
And I see that very well in Valley, in Singapore, in other countries, right? And we have to bring that into Indian entrepreneurs.
Sure.
Right? The third part is primarily building a culture for scaling. You know, one of the things that she's done is that August 15th, she got about 20,000 calls. She said, impossible to do this manual handling of calls. So she took a call which actually took her revenue down by half.
Okay.
She said, I'm going to take out all the people out in my customer service department.
All right.
All that I'm going to have is this chatbot and also a few manually assisted chats, right? It dipped for about 2 months, then it scaled. So she built a system thinking about the future in mind, that cannibalizing some revenue is okay, but bad customer experience is wrong from a scaling perspective.
Right.
Right? So thinking through that, right, I mean, you have to build a culture and a process that can scale like a large company. And that's why I feel that some of the larger company experiences of building customer experience rather than customer acquisition is very, very important. And that's what a lot of people miss in startups. When you give them money, they burn on customer acquisition.
Right.
And that's not, I mean, those customers are not going to stay with you. Somebody is going to come and take them over, right?
Sure.
You have to build customer experience that is sustainable over a longer period, and they keep coming and buying the stuff from you.
Sure.
Right? So I think this is super important. Another organization in the portfolio is 91 Springboard.
Right.
Which grew, our investment there grew 15x in about 8 months.
Yes.
So he's a solid entrepreneur. I remember when he first time came to Hyderabad from Delhi, he called me and he said, hey Prasad, I need a place to stay. We still don't have the funds. So I said, okay, come and stay with me.
Right.
Then he showed up with 4 more guys. So I said, who are these guys? He said, this is my team. I said, I have only 3 rooms, my family's staying. He said, it's okay, you just give us some mattresses, we'll lie down and sleep. And today, he's doing a $4 million run rate.
Right. They've got a quite a presence now.
Yeah, he's got 9 cities. He's become like the WeWork in India. He's doing an amazing job. So just imagine the culture that he was trying to create in the organization, though he can afford to go and stay in any hotel he wants.
Right.
He comes from a very wealthy family.
Right.
But still, he chose to create a culture in an organization which is very hardworking, which is very committed, and they follow suit. Everybody does the same thing as the top partners do.
Sure.
Super important.
Thanks.
I just want to add something
Sure.
for Trilophilia.
Sure.
They are not spent, I think, even 1 rupee on the marketing.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
It's one of those
One
few
of those
companies.
few companies.
And how do they kind of...
They just SEO
word of
on their
mouth?
own, no, word of mouth, and they kept on making sure that the presence is felt in social media to their own internal team.
That's it?
That's it.
Wow, amazing. So Krishna, I'll probably go back to your journey again. And so currently you are running this company called Dukaan Online?
Dukaan Live.
Yeah, and basically, I think I was just going to the statistics. There are like 12,000 retailers on board since March 2014. That's a very short runway. I think you have onboarded quite a few retailers, and every minute there are 70 people buying something across from your store, and then every minute 300 customers walk into those stores, and so kind of, again, what is the recipe for this? Is it again focus, or is it, or basically it's your business model or value proposition? What is that? This.
Okay, just to start with the business model. Okay, so when I came back to India to start this IPA, I had X that I wanted to do, but I ended up doing Y.
All right.
Because you have to learn on the way what customers are looking for.
Sure.
And what I thought about a business document which I wrote 280 pages that day versus I hired a company to do market research about the business model, what I was planning to do. There's another 800 pages, whatever the document is no value today.
Sure.
But the learnings, what you learn on the way, it is very important, and you have to mold it very quickly. And that actually poses back to the question which you asked to Mr. Prasad regarding culture.
Right.
You have to be agile every time, every day. And you should accept what customer is asking. So today, to build such kind of company, I took 4 years in United States to make 150 crores company those days. Today, it took me 14 months to make that. Okay, so 2014 March, 2013, 14 March we launched. And next 14 months by August 2015, we are actually 100 crores and 9,000 plus retailers. What we do here is, the culture is very important, as you rightly said, everyone is telling. The customer is expecting your order the other side. And in case if you fail to deliver that order, and you actually lost one trustworthy customer. To test this, you see, this is more important that how many customers walking in a minute versus how many customers buying per minute. Today, if there are 70 customers buying per minute across all our stores, that means there are many more walking in. To make sure that 70 customers only continues to grow but not lose, it is not a measure that how many people are buying. It is a measure that, it should be a measure that how many people get repeated buying. To earn that, you can't throw money at it. Money is not going to solve the problem. You have to throw experience. You have to throw commitment. You have to throw the trustworthiness which they can trust on.
Sure.
So that culture, what I wanted to link here is, in our office, every day there is a book which we call My Commitment.
Okay.
So every day the culture starts with every day morning when they come, they write one thing which they wanted to do for today. It's including a call center executive too, including me.
Okay.
Okay, end of the day that we have to do. In terms of deliveries, we work like a flight schedule. Okay, the delivery has to start at 9 a.m. in the morning. It has to start, and everything else falls in.
Okay.
So this is very, very small things together puts a great measure on top of your growth story. So there are vanity metrics when people look at it. How much GMV you are doing, how many, these vanity metrics only takes you to the short run. When if you focus on the core, which actually does matter to the customer.
Sure.
And that is actually changes the long way. And to answer your question, it is quite a journey, and building in India, especially first time, and working with the people and building the culture, what you're looking. When the culture, how the culture is made in a company is basically, it's how your kids will behave when there is a situation. They actually behave like you and your wife. Okay, so father and mother, they look at it and they behave a similar way, our teacher. So in a company, a corporate culture will be built on an entrepreneur and the leadership role. I think this is very important for scaling up. Culture is very important. While how I use that culture at a Dukaan Line IP is, this is what every day in. One thing, What is that you're bringing value to the company? And what is that you're going to solve? Maybe customer executive will write, I will solve 15 customers' problem today. That's my challenge. Or maybe developer may write, there is a 100-line code which I will fix, which will further save money for the company.
Sure.
That's one thing, only one line.
So there's something that is going beyond the line of duty and they want to achieve
No,
that.
it's there inside their line of duty.
Okay.
So every day they have to think, every day they have to think what they have to do. It's not out of the box thinking.
Right.
If I'm a developer, I'm writing this code for the particular project.
Sure.
That project, how I enhance, how it's basically just not like writing 100-line code, how it will enhance end-to-end process, that thinking one step further.
So improvement on the existing processes, how every person can work on that. So the one commitment that everybody writes.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. So culture with focus on customer or enhancing their existing way of doing things. Great.
Just a
Thank you.
point I want to
Yes.
make, actually, Krishna has got a very important point.
Sure.
So how do you create a culture of managing by metrics?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
A lot of us actually focus on those high-level metrics,
Right.
like the GMV, customer experience and all that.
True.
But unless and until you are able to understand the drivers which can actually tweak those big metrics,
Right.
you will not be able to achieve those big metrics.
Sure.
You can probably show them for about 3 months, 6 months, right? Then over a period, those metrics will drop.
Sure.
Just imagine if your on-time delivery is getting messed up.
Right.
Your customer experience and your GMV is going to get messed up.
Right.
Right? So you need a combination of big picture and detailed picture people in your organization.
Sure.
So if you surround yourself with big picture people, let me tell you, the organization will never run. Right? You need those folks who are crunching those drivers, putting operational processes and metrics, and then driving them day in, day out.
Sure. That actually kind of brings to my second other question. How do you kind of measure like whether the startup is going in the direction which has been envisaging, and is there a kind of way of framework which startups can look into and say that, okay, I'm falling within the path that I've been envisaging, and is there a way of framework to measure that? Any advice on that?
Yeah, see, I think all businesses have 3-4 metrics. There's revenue, there's profit, there's customer experience, right?
Sure.
Those are the big whys.
Big whys, right.
But in your specific business, depending on the type of business, you want to break it down almost into an end-to-end process.
Right.
And then see what are the different operational drivers to choose to be able to achieve each of those big whys.
Right.
Right? And then create a framework that actually rewards people also in achieving those metrics at that operational levels.
That's where the culture point.
That's what the culture creates, right? And once you do that, I think it becomes a habit. Then everybody should have an understanding how they contribute to the big metric.
Sure.
The problem also is to be able to start thinking in silos, which happens in large organizations,
Right.
doesn't happen in startups.
Ask
But
me that.
yeah, exactly. So everybody says, oh, my metric is so important, and I don't even care what you achieve, right? That's a big problem, a big organization problem. But I think the small startups also should kind of know, like, okay, I am the guy who's delivering this on the street. How am I contributing to that big metric?
Good,
Right? It is very, very important. And once they know, then they realize the importance. And they actually, then you build a culture around operationalizing the strategy and achieving your vision.
I can add,
Yes, please. Yes.
I can add a lot about the metrics, because
Sure.
that's very, very important for the scale of the growth.
Right.
Very, very crucial.
Sure.
And even if you're on the first day of your startup,
Right.
you can still have metrics.
Right.
And metrics are both internal and external. That is what you want to see the company a year from now.
Sure.
And first thing, whenever you talk about metrics, whom are going to share the metrics with? With your employees,
Right.
with your team.
Right.
And when you share with the team, you can't just share a small part of the metrics. You have to share the whole vision of the company with him.
Right.
So before you share the vision of the company, you have to first share his vision.
Right.
What is that you are going to play a role? What we are expecting from you in the next 3 months, next 6 months, and next 9 months, or 1 year from now.
Right.
So based on how you perform, this is where I think we're going to be.
Sure.
So it's very important to keep working with the team that you have to make sure that is he following the metrics that you are built for the company and for himself.
Got it.
And moment you hire some lateral tomorrow because you got some new growth, you should make sure that this team is not disturbed at all.
Sure.
Because you don't want to lose those people that you have built, and now you get a new people and start building again and all like.
Sure.
So both in Magna Infotech and Goose Technology, Magna being a services, we had a very, very fine metrics, and we shared the metrics with every employee openly in the company, so they can see what's happening. So they will not question that what kind of raise I'm going to get and what do I have to do. So you can see that someone is performing at 200%, someone's performing at 90%. Okay, so I know that you can't come and tell me that I can't perform at 150%.
Sure.
Because there are people who are performing at 200% also, based on how they're doing the job. Even in the Goose being a very small product company, we have built the metrics that we want to just give, in my first year when I took the company, that we just want to, we just want to give, we can't sell the product, it's internationally, we just want to give demo to 100 companies in the world.
All right.
With very minimal budget. And you won't believe it, we achieved that in 15 months. The whole team worked in the way it's supposed to work, just give demos to 100 people in the world.
So that's basically defining metrics, also aligning the people.
Aligning the people and aligning the resources, aligning the process, and you're also part of the metrics.
Sure.
You're also questioned, you know.
Sure.
You can't be outside the metrics.
Right.
So,
and then again you brought in the concept, point of which again Krishna had brought into the focus. Just focus on those customer segments.
That's right.
Just go after that.
So whatever investment we have made in the startups,
Right.
Trilophilia, Indian Money, Winjust is now called Grey Campus and other companies, first thing we do is, when you share the data with us, we want to see this metrics.
Sure.
Based on the business that they are.
Okay.
And based on where they are in that business.
Okay.
I can't give the metrics of something which, you know, is just a dream and is not achievable at this moment.
And then do you kind of say that, how do you define those metrics? Like, is it 200%, 300% growth over the next 2 years? Is that
Actually, we are more keen on the overall growth.
Well,
we don't want them to, when they grow, I don't want them to fall back.
Right.
Without, if it's unplanned.
Right.
If it's planned, that's okay. But so we take sure, okay, he needs to hire people. Okay, he wants to hire at partner level or at a mid-level. Okay, what kind of people he's going to hire?
Right.
What time is going to take to hire the people?
Right.
And he wants to add more office space. Okay, by what time he's going to close office space?
Okay.
And he's got this much cash, how he's going to use the cash? He has to raise funds after 1 year, how he's going to raise the funds? And how the business is going to grow with all these things now. So
Right.
he tells us, and then we question him a lot, and then we put a benchmark. Okay, this is a business that is going to grow.
Right.
Like Space Hub is a perfect example, how he's taking advantage of every ecosystem around him,
Right.
of all the investors around him, and trying to grow at a faster pace.
Got it.
So we also teach him that how you take advantage of us.
Right. Okay.
Because that's the not only we give the money to you,
Right.
you can take advantage of us and build and use our knowledge and experience to go faster.